Oh, hey there. Can we please talk about UFC 262? It has crept up on us like that for it feels like it was just yesterday that there were rumours flying around about Conor fighting for the title and Dustin Poirier and making that title match, but no. But then they settled on Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, which I believe is the right fight to make. That's a hell of a fight because you don't need a title on Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor 3, but putting a title on this fight, it adds value to it. It feels like we're heading into the new era of the lightweight division, doesn't it? Because obviously, Khabib was so dominant for so long and he's hung up his gloves, and now it's time for the new guys to step in. You've got Michael Chandler, who's come out of Bellator, who's just this powerhouse of a man. You've got Oliveira, who has been doing MMA since forever, since Brock Lesnar. When Charles Oliveira made his debut, Brock Lesnar was the champion. That's a long time ago. This fella right down here was UFC heavyweight champion in the world. Let that sink in. Huh? Feel old yet? Yeah, I do. Jesus Christ, because I remember that like it was yesterday. But yeah, so it's an excellent main event. There's plenty of narrative behind it. And speaking of narrative, there is some fantastic narrative going into the co-main event as well. Because Tony Ferguson is taking on Beneil Dariush. And don't get it twisted. As much as I love Beneil Dariush, this is all about seeing where Tony Ferguson is in terms of this division. Can he make a comeback? Can he pull himself together and make a run at the age of 37? I'll get into what I think on that one in a little bit. But as you all know, if you've watched this show before, if not, welcome. Glad to have you here. What I like to do is I like to go through the card and I take my pick of certain fights where there are maybe some underdogs that like to come in. I like to call them terrible bets. Because honestly, betting on MMA is always terrible because you're not going to get rich betting on mixed martial arts, but putting a little bit of money down does help spice these things up. And you know what? I love fighting anyway, but putting a little bet on here and there, I really do enjoy it. So, the fights that I picked out this week, I've picked out 3 fights. And this will probably run a little bit short because, like I said, I only picked the 3 fights. This is the Burt Locker fights in 15, but that's 15 or less. I want to make that perfectly. That's 15 minutes or less. Well, on this one anyway. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future. Who knows? It's my show. I'll do what I want. So yeah, first one I'm going to look at. This one's a very interesting scrap. Edson Barboza against Shane Burgos at 145 pounds. Now, the reason that is interesting is that Edson Barboza, obviously, he went down to 145 pounds. And what I find interesting here is that Edson Barboza is coming in as an underdog, right? Now, Burgos, other than Burgos? I'm going to call him Burgos. Shane Burgos, anyway. He's coming off that loss to Josh Emmett. Now, there is no shame there because I rate Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett, he should get a big fight soon. In my opinion, he's a hell of a fighter. But before that, his record is pretty good. He strung a few wins together. He got some hype behind him because the MMA scene, it's all about momentum. That is what it's all about. And adversely, you look at Barboza's record, and there's a lot of red there. There's a lot of red on that record. At first glance, you're thinking, well, yeah, no, obviously Burgos should be a favourite then, because Edson Barboza's a big old bag of shit. No, I forgive you. I forgive you for thinking that, but no. But look at his record, right? John, his only losses since 2015: Kevin Lee, Khabib, Gaethje, Tony. Do you know what I mean? It's like the losses to Felder and Ige were both split decisions. Those could have gone either way. So other than those split decisions, I mean, there's no shame in any of those losses. And don't get it twisted, Edson Barboza is elite. He is elite level. Look at what he can do to me. Look at what he did to Dan Hooker. Look at what he did. Go back and watch that fight with Dan Hooker, and you watch what Edson Barboza managed to do to Dan Hooker, who was an excellent, excellent fighter. And Dan Hooker is one of the best in the world. Don't get that twisted. He is. And Edson Barboza dismantled him. So, I'm thinking I'm going to take Barboza here as the underdog. Because, look, honestly, I think he's going to... I always make my picks before I look at the odds. And then I take a look at the odds. And that's how I do this. And then I find the ones where I pick the underdogs inadvertently. That's, put a little sneak peek into my process there. But yeah, I thought Edson Barboza was good for this fight, and then when I saw he was the underdog, I was like, yep, I'll double down on that. The question is, how? Sorry, a little cultural appropriation there for you. Don't cancel. I'm too small to be cancelled. You can't cancel me. I'm irrelevant. So fuck you. Yeah. So we got look, the knockout is tempting. Now, I forgive you for being tempted by the knockout, but Barboza does love going to a decision, especially at featherweight. So I'm gonna double chance it. And the double chance for the knockout or the decision is 2.10, which is the same as Edson Barboza to win. So why would I take that risk? So in that case, I'm going to go with Edson Barboza to win 2.10. I might put a sneaky side bet on the knockout, even though the knockout's not going to happen. I think that Edson Barboza wins this by decision, and I think he looks very good. That is my prediction for this fight. So moving on, we have the co-main event. And like I said, there's a lot of narrative going into this fight. Is Tony Ferguson done? At the age of 37. Look, 2020 was not a good year for Tony Ferguson. He got dismantled by Justin Gaethje and absolutely dominated by Charles Oliveira. But Charles Oliveira is hella good. So is there any shame in that? But my question is, I do question some of the wins that Tony said. I mean, the win against Pettis, Tony, that was back and forth fight, and then Pettis broke his hand. And I don't know, you on the face of it, yeah, he went on a really long winning streak, but you see some of those fights, and it's like, okay, yeah, you beat Cowboy, who hasn't beat Cowboy? But, you know, no disrespect to Cowboy, he's been beaten a lot lately. I don't know, is Tony Ferguson as good as they were making him out to be? Would be my question. And my answer to that is no. No, I don't think he is. I don't think he was ever like elite in that division. You know, it pains me to say. I'm a big fan of Tony Ferguson, but I don't think he's elite at lightweight. I really don't. With that being said, I think he beats Beneil Dariush. And I'm not saying that to slight Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is as game as they come. He is so good. He's solid in just about every area. He really is. I mean, he's got the momentum. As I said earlier, the fight game is all about momentum, and Dariush has got a lot of it. You know, six wins since 2018, 5 finishes, 2 submissions, 3 knockouts. That is a hell of a lot of momentum he's bringing into this fight. I think that Tony Ferguson stops that momentum. I really do. I may be overestimating Tony here. Tony has been overestimated in the past, and I've spotted it because I bet on Gaethje and I bet on Oliveira because I knew that they were going to win. Because I do think that Tony has been vastly overestimated, but I do not feel like he's being overestimated in this fight because I do feel like with his back against the wall, El Kukui, Tony Ferguson is going to come out with the win. I really think that. And he's coming in as the underdog here. Look, Tony Ferguson plus 11 to get the submission. That's worth taking any day of the week. It really, really is. It's tempting. I don't think it's going to be submission though. I think it's probably going to be a finish. I don't see this fight going the distance. So that's why I'm going for Tony Ferguson double chance. 3.75. That's going on the bet slip. I think that's a terrible bet. Dariush might come out and flatten him. But I just have a belief that Tony Ferguson is not going to let his career end on this note. I really feel that way. And I think that whilst Dariush is very good, I don't know if he's on the level of the guys that have flattened Tony. We're going to find out on Saturday night. This is why it's so intriguing. It's a good fight. Good fight. Tony Ferguson, double chance. So it's going to be submission. He's going to get the finish, I think. Submission or knockout. That's going on the bet slip. And then we've got the main event. The new era of the light heavyweight division? The lightweight division, excuse me. Charles Oliveira against Michael Chandler. This is a really good fight. This is like the fight. You know, everyone screams out about, oh, but you need to, look, the rankings are meaningless if you don't get, look, this is the fight to make. This is it. These are the two, without Khabib, these two are in the mix for 2 of the best at lightweight, no question. You've got, obviously, Conor and Dustin Poirier, but you don't need to put a title on that. This one deserves to be for the title. And you know what? On paper, this is such a good fight. And Chael Sonnen, he gave the prediction that it was going to be one-sided. He's gone with Michael Chandler, and I tend to agree with him that I think it is going to be one-sided. I do. But I think it's going to be one-sided the other way. Don't get me wrong. Michael Chandler, he is a wrecking machine. He's a wrecking machine. He has got so much power. Do you know what I mean? His wrestling is fantastic. His movement is excellent. But I just feel like Charles Oliveira has more tools to get the job done. I really do. It's just, Charles Oliveira, he's come up the hard way, man. He's fought so many people. He's got his share of losses. But he's now on an 8-fight win streak with the most submissions in UFC history. I believe that's in UFC history. And that's why the submission for Charles Oliveira is only +3. And that's what I'm going to take on this one. That's what I'm going to take. Because, honestly, I just feel like my prediction is Charles Oliveira to win, first and foremost. I'm not counting Chandler out here. I'm really not. Chandler has that one X factor. I feel like the main advantage Chandler has is that freak power that he can put people to sleep. I'm not saying Charles can't. Charles is perfectly capable of knocking people out. He's done it, and he will do again. But I feel like Charles Oliveira has more tools to get the job done. Now, Charles Oliveira is the favourite in this one, so, you know, controversial to what I normally do, I am going with the favourite. And also, you know, it's very short odds on him to get the submission. Very short. But I think that is for good reason, because I think that it happens. I think that Charles Oliveira gets the submission, and that is why +3 for Charles Oliveira to get the submission is going on my bet slip. So, that is the treble. That is my treble this week. My treble this week is Barboza to get the win. Any means necessary, Barboza. Edson, just get it done. Got Tony Ferguson getting the finish, and I have got Charles Oliveira getting the submission. That is 23.63, so that is circa 22-1, which is a terrible bet because that's not even good odds. That's not even like astronomical odds. So yeah, but that's the bet that I am putting on. It's up here on the screen, and I'm also putting a side bet on Chandler by first round knockout, just because why the fuck not? And either way, I am gonna enjoy the fuck out of these fights. And yeah, look, I always do a wrap-up show Wednesday, Thursday, next week, over on the Patreon. You know, if you feel like joining me to find out how all these bets went, please feel free. We have a good time on the midweek show because, you know, we wrap up all the news. We do all like the, you know, we have a lot of fun. You know, just like we have some fun betting. But either way, next time I see you, until then, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.